Hi, this is Stan Fitzgerald with Legacy PAC and Veterans for Trump. I'm here with Kentucky's Attorney General, Daniel Cameron. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you, and you are running for governor, and you are the best candidate. You're Trump endorsed.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, I grew up here in Kentucky. My parents owned a small business, a coffee shop in Elizabethtown, which is just south of Louisville. Went to undergrad and law school at the University of Louisville. Played a little bit of football at U of L, but I tell people play is a very generous term. I spent a lot of time on the bench rooting for folks that were a lot more talented than I was, but it was a good experience. And after I finished law school, I clerked for a federal judge for a couple of years and then worked in private practice and then went up to DC and back to private practice and got the crazy notion to run for attorney general in 2019 and was fortunate to win not only the primary, but obviously the general, and became the first Republican attorney general here in Kentucky since 1948. And we have been working hard. We've obviously been serving since the end of 2019 and have had an eventful few years. And in 2020, I got married to my best friend, Mackenzie, and we've got a 14-month-old at home now. And so this is a family effort. Been standing up for folks' constitutional rights and conservative values over these last 3 years, and going to continue to do that work as the next governor of Kentucky.
And I might add, you've done a great job as Attorney General, sir.
Thank
And
you.
Mr. Attorney General, can you tell us a little bit about the policies you want to work on as governor?
Well, I think one of the big issues that is confronting families all across the Commonwealth is obviously the fentanyl epidemic that we're seeing. And we have got to do a better job, in my judgment, of using the bully pulpit of the governor's office to fight this epidemic. And that starts with holding the Biden administration accountable for their actions and their failure to act at the southern border. And as Attorney General, I've got two lawsuits right now on that exact front, holding them accountable for fentanyl at the southern border that is coming into our communities here in Kentucky and poisoning our people. So I want to continue that work, again, using the bully pulpit of the governor's office to put a spotlight on the failures of the Biden administration. Also, here in Kentucky, parents really care about the educational opportunities of their kids. In fact, when folks here in Kentucky were complaining about the learning loss in the curriculum that their kids were learning in schools, the Department of Justice labeled them domestic terrorists, and our current governor, Andy Beshear, said nothing. That's unacceptable. You've got to have a governor that's going to stand up for our parents, stand up for our values when it comes to education. We got to make sure that we get this far left ideology out of our schools. Our schools need to be places where kids learn skills to get them ready to sustain themselves and ultimately sustain their families. Schools shouldn't be breeding grounds for liberal propaganda. And so, as governor, I'm going to make sure that our schools match our values here in Kentucky and look forward to doing that. And then we want to make sure that we continue to get our income tax rate down as far as we possibly can to encourage people to come into our state and set up businesses here. So all those are things that I'm going to work on. I'm going to work on making sure our veterans know that they have a seat at the table and making sure that they know that they will never go unheard in the governor's office. And you've got that commitment for me.
Well, we appreciate that, and I'm sure our base will be very glad to hear that. And Daniel, can I ask you about a couple of current affairs? You mentioned the Biden administration. What are your thoughts on his recent trip to this mass shooting where he's talking about ice cream?
Well, it's disappointing to have the leader of the free world, the leader of the United States, talking about ice cream when there's devastation that happened in Nashville and tragedy that happened in Nashville. We need somebody in that moment to speak to that heartache and that pain, not be talking about ice cream. That was a major failure by the Biden administration, but it's consistent with so many other failures that we see by this administration. And my heart goes out to the folks in Nashville that were targeted. And we've got to do everything we can to keep our schools, whether they be public or private, safe. And that is a commitment as an attorney general, something that I've been working on. But as governor, I'll make sure that our schools here in Kentucky are safe because that's what our citizens here deserve. And so I'm going to keep working on your behalf, but the Biden administration has repeatedly showed that it's not up to the task of leading, and I know that President Trump is.
Absolutely. And last question, along the lines of President Trump, you're endorsed by the president. Recently, there's been a threat that he be indicted. I've looked at the evidence as a retired police detective. I actually don't see anything. What are your thoughts on this process?
Well, it's disappointing. I mean, we know what this is. This is the weaponization of the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, and it is weaponized to punish political opponents. This opponent being President Trump. You know, President Trump came in to office and shook things up and brought people to the table, the working men and women of this country to the table in a way that they hadn't had access to the table ever before. And so he has done a lot to get this country on the right track. It was obviously disappointing that Joe Biden now serves as the president, but we have got to have a president that is strong. And so we know that whether it be the DA in Manhattan or others, they are using the weaponization of our judicial system and our prosecutorial system to try to take down President Trump. But what I know about President Trump and what you all know is that he's tough. And this will only embolden people to come to his aid to help him as he pushes forward in his campaign for president.
Amen to that. And I do want to rally our base to support you. So I do want to announce that you've been voted in for endorsement by Veterans for Trump in a unanimous, very quick decision. So you have our full endorsement. I'll get it out in the media shortly. And can you please tell people across the country how they could help your campaign?
Well, this is a big race. There are only 3 governors' races in the country right now. It'll be Louisiana, Mississippi, and Kentucky. And Kentucky is going to be the front lines for the Democrat Party. They want to keep control of a red state governorship. They've got a Democrat there right now, Andy Beshear. We've got to retire Andy Beshear in November. And so you all watching can help by donating. You can go to CameronForKentucky.com and go there and find out more about our campaign, but also donate. Again, this is a big race. We're going to have as much resources as we possibly can to get our vision out for restoring common sense leadership to our governor's office and making sure we reflect the values of the men, women, and children of our 120 counties. I hope you will join us. Go to CameronForKentucky.com. God bless you guys.
Well, Mr. Attorney General, thank you. We look forward to seeing you as governor, and we'll talk again soon, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye now.
Hi, everyone. This is Angie Wong, and I'm president of Legacy PAC. I just want to thank all of our followers. We're close to 100,000 followers on Facebook, and we've only been around for a few short months. So thank you again. I'm going to ask you for your continued support leading up to 2024. Please donate to legacy-pac.org. That's legacy-pac.org. Thank you, and we'll see you on the campaign trail.
And Stan, where's Stan? Stan is with Veterans for Trump.
Thank you, Martha.
Thank you all. We're honored. I know there are so many organizations represented here today.
So we know the issues, we know about energy, we know about the border, we know Joe Biden doesn't know what he's doing. We know all that, we get all that, but why do this? Why do this here tonight with Legacy PAC? Because there's a whole lot of people who have the passion to save this country who need help getting off the ground.
The purpose of Legacy PAC is to save America. That's our mission. That's what we really want to do because America is worth saving.
We support the next generation of conservative leaders. We just want people, good, solid patriots. They're not embedded in like the establishment.
I am a political outsider. I am by trade, I'm a cybersecurity engineer. Okay, so this is my first run in politics. We need more conservative Republicans standing up and fighting for the Constitution.
We're an America First PAC, and we want to promote and help our up-and-coming candidates, and we're going to be holding the line for President Trump.
I joined the Army at 17 years old. My first day at my first unit, which was 25th Infantry, was September 10th, 2001. So the next day was 9/11. And I spent about a total of a decade between Iraq and Afghanistan in country. So my country means everything to me. When I realized that if people like myself who don't want to be politicians don't start stepping up and taking these seats, that nothing's going to change, then I said, okay, I'll do it.
Who deserves to lead the people of this country more than those who serve this country? So I'm behind every one of them. So let's make sure we get more veterans into power. I'm all for it.
Remember why you're involved. We have to make sure people remain humble and not engage in self-glorification. You are here for one reason, and that is to save the country. Period, end of story.
And for those candidates who are looking uphill and wondering how, keep your head down, focus on the target, and outwork everybody. And I promise you, you're not gonna lose. You're either gonna win on election night or you change the game on election night. So God bless you guys. Thank you so much, Legacy PAC.